a basketball coach, and like basketball was very big at my high school, so I was just naturally pushed to go into being a basketball player. And growing up, I was obviously very tall and kind of basically built like a basketball player. So that's what I focused on mainly going through high school. And my big dream and goal at that point in time was to go to college to play basketball. So actually, that's when I first actually started training with weights and conditioning. And obviously the whole point of it was just for basketball. So as that started, that was my goal, and I was able to, I believe, just through starting to train with weights, I was able to attain that goal of earning a basketball scholarship. And so that was a very big thing for me, but it was kind of funny because it actually, the weight training for me kind of morphed into my first love and my passion as I got into college. And really my last 2 years of college, I actually enjoyed the training more than the actual basketball season or playing basketball. And I really got upset because I'd go into the season, I think at that time I weighed, I think I went into my senior year about 255, 260 pounds to play basketball. And, I was a power forward at 6'8", so pretty decent size, really lean. I dropped down to, lose about 20 pounds just naturally by running so much and practicing twice a day and all that, that goes along with being a college athlete. But anyway, when I got done with basketball, I was just done. I mean, my last game, that was, I think, pretty much the last time I ever touched a basketball. And I think my coach at the time kind of had a lot to do with that because it wasn't a great guy, not somebody I looked up to. But anyway, after that, I was just done with basketball. I got into, I really wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach, and that's what I went to school, and I studied in college, and I got my degree in wellness management. Actually, after I got out of college, I took a position at Arizona State University as a graduate assistant, mainly working with the football team there. So it was a lot of strength and conditioning, and it was a great experience for me. I worked under Joe Kent, who's a very good strength and conditioning coach, and he taught me a lot about how to train properly, and I learned a lot more about how to get stronger and really not only just how to train athletes, but also how to train myself, and I learned a lot, and I applied a lot of what I learned there to my training. So really, after I got out of school, I didn't really have a lot of direction, where I was going with training, where I was going with lifting. I just enjoyed lifting. I enjoyed getting bigger, I enjoyed getting stronger, and it's just a passion of mine. So I go, that was what made sense at that point in time. So, and it always has, the weights, the one thing I will say is, the weights are never, they're always there, they're always waiting, and they're never going to lie to you or cheat on you or anything, I mean, it's just, you can pull your heart and soul into that, and they're always there, and no matter how bad of a day you had, or how bad of a week or month or whatever, like that's always there for you to go and fall back on. So, at the time, that's what made sense to me. I didn't know, really where I was going, and I actually left Arizona State and moved back to Colorado, which is where I grew up. And I went back into working in HVAC with my brother, because I was just kind of like, well, like a lot of people get out of school, you don't really know what you're going to do, and where your life's going to take you and that sort of thing. And at that point in time was when I actually entered my first strongman competition, because I watched World's Strongest Man since I was a little kid on ESPN. And I would literally sit there for hours and just watch it. I mean, I was just glued to the TV and watch these guys, and of course, you look at their height and their weight and how big they are, and for me, it was kind of like, well, I had the height and I felt like I had the frame, but my body weight, like I said, when I got done with college, was right around 250 pounds, give or take. And then it was kind of funny because when I quit playing basketball and quit running so much, it was like, I don't even remember weighing like 270 or 280, like I jumped almost to 300 pounds just like overnight, it seemed like. But, it's just kind of a natural thing. I just, eat and like look at the weights and I gain weight. But anyway, after that, so, I kind of got done. Like I said, I started really wanting to get into strongman. So I researched it. I then entered my first contest, which was Denver Strongest Man, really without any formal training. I didn't have any of the implements. I didn't have really anything. I just said, well, I'm going to show up and we'll see what happens. And I ended up actually winning that first competition, which I was great. I was like, well, I didn't really know what to expect, and to show up and win was awesome. I was like, well, okay, So the next thing, obviously, is I wanted to do a bigger contest, so I just kept going. I went to, I think there was one in New Mexico, like the next month, so I went and entered that and drove down there and actually won that one too. And then I decided, well, let's go to a bigger contest, because in the amateur system, there's basically like a few different levels. They call them like silver, gold, platinum, and then like a pro-am level, which is where you would earn your pro card. And that happens, normally 3 or 4 times a year. So I was like, well, let's just go to a pro level show, and that was the first time I would get the opportunity to earn my pro card. And I went in there, and I tell you what, I walked in, and I was like, man, these guys are huge. They're big, they're strong, and me being from a small town in Colorado, I'd been around football players and athletes, but these guys were just monsters, and I walked in, and really I kind of got my butt kicked in that contest, because like I said, at this time I didn't have any of the stones. I didn't have anything. So there was a super yoke, which for those of you that are not familiar, that's an apparatus. You carry it on your back, pick it up, and walk with it. And I remember it was just over 900 pounds. And I'd done super yoke one other time, and it was 650 pounds or something. And I picked it up, and I took 2 steps, and I thought I literally tore both of my legs, my quads, doing that. But it was kind of crazy. I just jumped into it. I'm a very competitive guy by nature, so I just jumped in, and like I said, I think I took 12th or 13th out of maybe 16 or 17 guys in that contest. After that, I went back and started kind of building my equipment. I had a guy that had a welder in his garage, and he helped me out a lot with building kind of my first set of equipment. I got like 2 different stones to train with, and I went back over the next several months and just started working with the implements and trying to get better. And I didn't have anybody that was in the sport. I didn't have anybody that I knew that I could talk to. So this is all, I would go back and watch video, and obviously with my strength background, it was all kind of trial and error for me. I'd build something new and try to do it, and then I'd go back and watch video and say, well, this guy's doing this, or maybe I can try this, or maybe this will work for me. And so there was a lot of that for me. I didn't have anybody, like I said, that I could ask, or any other pros that I knew, or I was just pretty much doing it by myself, and just because I loved it. And I entered the next pro-am that I could, which was in, I believe, May of that year. So this was, I started in October, I think, was Denver Strongest Man of 2005, and then actually earned my pro card in June of 2006, which, is a very, very, for this sport anyways, very, very quick. I don't know if anybody's ever done it quicker than that, but from there, I earned my pro card in June of 2006, and I realized that, like, in order for me to succeed, I needed to train more, and yeah, I was good enough. It's kind of funny, because one of the pros there, when I earned my pro card, was like, well, you realize you're the best amateur today, but you're also the worst pro. And I was like, well, I guess that's true. I'm not, you have to work your way up through the amateurs, and then you have to work your way up to the pros. So I took the rest of 2006 off to train, and I entered the All-American Strongman Challenge, which is my first pro show in early 2007. And I remember there was a cut after the first day of the top 12, and I took 13th, which is very, very humbling for me. And I jumped in 2007. I decided, I'm just going to compete because I need experience and I need to get better. And really the thing that I've always tried to do is learn something from every contest and get better from it. So, if I see somebody doing something, that seems to work, I'm going to go back and try it. I basically try to take things from all the best guys and apply them to my training, and apply them to what I can do in competition. So I think I competed almost 15 times in 2007. The best I did was second place in a couple shows, and I started doing a lot better and kind of coming up, and then 2008 is kind of where I had a breakthrough, and I qualified for World's Strongest Man that year, which was, it's just an unbelievable feeling for me, because, this is a contest I've watched my whole life, and, to actually qualify and be a part of World's Strongest Man was, a great honor for me. And that year I actually took third in my qualifying group. I didn't make it to the finals, the top 10. Just kind of one of those things, again, I learned from it. Mariusz Kujanowski, who at the time was the defending champion in my qualifying group, and it was eye-opening again. Like every level that you get to, like there's just better and better competition. And I've always just tried to come back better, and that's one thing that a lot of people have said about me is, every contest I'm constantly, changing, I'm constantly getting better, and really I pride myself on every time I show up to compete, I'm better, and this is the best Brian Shaw that's ever competed. So last year, I don't know, there's probably a lot of you that saw the ESPN World's Strongest Man 2010, and I came into that and I was in great shape. I trained hard for that as well, and it ended up in a tie. The first time this has happened since 1977, since the contest started. A direct tie between Zydrunas Savickas and myself, and to be honest, I don't even know if they knew what to do. But what they chose to do was to go to a countback, which since the beginning, like I even knew what a countback was, I haven't agreed with it. Because obviously, in my opinion, if you score the same points, it should go to a tiebreaker regardless of your placing. But they decided to go to a tiebreaker, and the way it broke down out of the 6 events is I had won 2, he had won 2, we tied on 1, and then the next position was he had a 2nd place and then I had a 3rd place. If you do it a different way, it was kind of ironic, but head-to-head, if you take everybody else out of the contest, I had won 3 of the events against him, he had won 2 against me, and we tied on 1. But he ended up walking away with the 1st place trophy, which I'll tell you what was not an easy thing for me to accept last year in September. And it's because World's Strongest Man is such a huge deal, and to tie and then walk away with a 2nd place trophy just, it leaves you with a pretty empty feeling, to say the least. But I decided at that point in time, it's like, well, you can walk away from this and you can, cry about it and say, oh, I should have won, and this is BS or whatever, or you can take it and say, you know what, I'm going to come back, I got the Arnold coming up, and I'm going to walk in here and I'm going to prove why I should have won, So for me, it's kind of one of those things where, you can always take things positively or negatively. And I said, you know what, this is a tough situation, but I'm going to try to make the best out of it. And that's really what I did. So I was very motivated in training last fall and this spring. And this was my whole focus, was this weekend, the Arnold. I wanted to walk in here because there's been a lot of people that said, yeah, Brian's a good athlete, but he's not strong enough to win the Arnold, or not strong enough to come at the Arnold. And, Zydrunas, this is his show. And, there's been a lot of different things said about me. And, you're always going to have positive and negative things said. And, you got to take it with a grain of salt, whatever, But anyway, that's kind of my background coming into this contest. And, I feel like I still have a lot of room to grow, actually, and a lot of room to get better. And I'm going to basically try to set the bar as high as I possibly can in the sport. So anyway, I guess that's enough background. We can kind of open it up to questions now.